Hello and welcome back to the Give and Go. We are here to preview the round of 16 of the Asian Cup, the most viewed, or what's expected to be the most viewed Asian Cup of all time, a tournament that has been incredible so far, and a tournament that we've watched every single game of up to this point. Guys, make sure to subscribe because we just hit 60,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and we thank you guys so much. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe so that, we can continue building this Asian football community. The round of 16 has arrived, bro. It's arrived, and how does that make you feel, man? Excited?
Oh, incredibly excited. This is the most invested I've ever been in an AFC Asian Cup.
Yeah.
The first one was in actually 2011. I watched the semifinals. 2015, I started the quarters. 2019, I watched a little bit of the group stage.
There you go.
And now here we are watching every single match, trying to understand who's in form, who's not in form, who's going to be good in the 2026 World Cup cycle, but more importantly, who's going to lift this 2023 AFC Asian Cup title, bro. There's so many fun teams to watch out here. So let's dissect who's going to be here in this round of 16, dude.
And I would preface by saying I think it's a good number of teams that could potentially be lifting this trophy up. The way it's looking after this group stage, man. We got some contenders here. All right, folks, let's do it. Let's look at the round of 16 here graphic to just see what teams are facing off against each other. Look at these matchups. My goodness, man. Well, let's start at the very top with Qatar facing off against Palestine. Qatar finishing in first place in their group with 9 points, 3 straight victories, and Palestine qualifying through from third place at a Group C, but getting a very memorable, a very notable win over Hong Kong in their final match. Is Palestine going to be a tough team here for Qatar to beat?
Dude, I'm thinking so.
Yeah.
Palestine have had 3 back-to-back very good halves. The last game against Hong Kong, that connection between Batat and Dabag was unstoppable. Yeah. And if they can just continue that really good offensive flow that they've had over the last 90 to 150 minutes, Palestine, I think, is going to be a tough opponent for Qatar. Now, Qatar have had a really good group stage. You just said 9 points. They've been perfect. Against lesser opponents for sure. China had no offense whatsoever. Lebanon, it was their first game, and it was the opener. I think they were more shell-shocked than anything else. And then Qatar did beat Tajikistan, but ultimately was a very tight game. Whereas, again, Palestine, I think, played a little bit more tougher opponents in Iran and the UAE. I think there's going to be 50-50 as far as who actually goes through. But seriously, man, if you're Qatar, I'd be a little scared of Palestine.
Oh, 100%. You're going to be a little scared of Palestine because they have that momentum, man. They have that story, that emotion that comes with it. That's so wonderful to see. I agree. I think it's very, very close. I'm giving Qatar the edge because they're the host nation. They're the host nation, and I think that's going to go a far way here. And they have a perfectly informed player to counter whatever star their opposing team presents, and Akram Afif. Akram Afif is so informed right now in this tournament, and I just don't see him allowing his team to be knocked out after 3 straight victories in this tournament in the round of 16. For me, I see Qatar going all the way to the quarterfinals, and so I have them winning over Palestine. But like you said, bro, this is not going to be an easy match, and I will not be surprised if Palestine pulls off a crazy result here and upsets Qatar.
Yeah, this one's honestly really hard for me to pick. Palestine have been so disciplined recently in defense, but I've been so impressed with how direct and effective their offense has been. Whereas for Qatar, they've played great, but I think they've had to labor a little bit more to open up Akram Afif or to get Hassan Al-Haidos involved. Almoez Ali, isn't really his usual self that he had been over the last couple of years. I could see Qatar faltering in this game. I really could. But it's going to be completely up to Palestine. If they come out with the same energy that they came out with in the last 2 games, I actually do think Palestine can win this. As far as who I'm going to actually pick, man, it's so tough, dude.
It's tough, man.
It's tough.
Because I would love to see Palestine do it. I really would.
I think they can. That's the thing. I'm going to go to Qatar simply because they just have a little bit more experience. Obviously, they just won it, 5 years ago. Palestine, I think this is the first time they've ever been into a knockout stage at the AFC Asian Cup. I think that lack of experience is ultimately what's going to do them in. I see this as a very tight game, but I'll go Qatar.
Same. I agree with you. I'm going Qatar ultimately. 3 straight clean sheets, a really good defense so far, and more experience being the AFC 2019 defending champions. I have Qatar winning this game. And I think this first matchup kind of represents what we're going to see across the whole round of 16, bro. There's not really a clear matchup where there's a clear winner that's going to take it. All these matchups present opponents that could provide to be really, really good, feisty teams to play against. And we have, once again, one of those matchups with Uzbekistan facing off against Thailand. Both teams finishing in second in their group and carrying momentum for each of themselves.
Oh, yeah. The way I see Uzbekistan is they have slowly but surely built momentum every single match in this group stage. I think this will be the best form that they're in going into this knockout stage. That's only good news for Uzbekistan and Uzbekistan fans. They're going to move the ball quickly. I think they're going to have a lot more intent when they go forward. I think they've built chemistry in this group stage, knowing that at the beginning of this tournament, they had a couple of players who were injured. Sergeyev also coming in and out of the team in that number 9 position. So I think they've had to get used to who's actually the go-to guys up front. But I think they've done that. They've gotten used to, who's going to be out on the wing, who's going to be the guy who takes control of the midfield. And I think that's going to be bad news for Thailand. Thailand have been great defensively. I just don't know if Thailand are going to have the offensive weapons to beat a pretty decent Uzbekistan defense. I think Uzbekistan are very good offensively. Again, they've been building towards this in this group stage. I have Uzbekistan actually beating Thailand, not convincingly, but soundly.
Okay, that'd be nice. I think I actually prospect this game to be a little bit more tighter. I have Uzbekistan winning in extra time in this match, but it's more specifically because when you look at Uzbekistan, they've been playing better and better every single game, and they finish it off by playing a really good game against Australia 1-1, a team that's potentially a title contender for the Asian Cup. And Uzbekistan, we selected as the Give and Go's pick for the dark horse of this tournament, and I hope that they can amount to that title, so I do hope that they can achieve that result in this game. But Thailand, they got something to say about that, man, in the sense that they've overachieved given how we predicted they would do in this tournament, and that they've been riding a wave of crazy momentum, getting really good results one after another, and they have not lost at this tournament. I think that's really important for their mentality going into the knockout stages. I'm going to go Uzbekistan here, man, but I do think it's going to be a really close matchup that if Thailand just shows up in a way that Uzbekistan doesn't, could see Thailand coming out of this matchup somehow.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how Thailand's offense deals with a more organized team like Uzbekistan. We've seen glimpses of how well Thailand can actually stretch the pitch. I'm questioning to see if they can actually do it against a very disciplined team like Uzbekistan. But yeah, we're going to get to see that. I do have Uzbekistan winning this. I think I'm going to go in the full 90 minutes, either 1 or 2
Sure.
now.
All right, sounds good. I'm going Uzbekistan. All right, and next up we have Iran facing off against Syria, man. My goodness, bro, this is not going to be an easy matchup for Iran. This is not going to be easy, with Syria finishing in 3rd place, but with 4 points after defeating India in their last match, and Iran getting 3 straight victories, 9 points overall to dominate their group, Group C. Iran's looking like one of the best teams so far here at the Asian Cup with the results they're getting, the way they're getting them, the goals they're scoring, the way that the team is playing overall, whereas Syria is looking like one of the most stout, one of the best like-minded squads we've seen, with all these guys on the same page, playing with one single mentality and executing their coach's plan to a very good degree. I don't think it's going to be an easy match whatsoever for Iran, and it's going to be a true test in their path to hopefully lifting the AFC Asian Cup.
So do you have Iran winning though, yeah?
I have Iran winning.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think this is going to be a very tight match. Syria are so comfortable and confident in defense. They've probably been one of the more consistent teams on a game-to-game basis in this group stage. They've played the exact same way, heavy focus on defense, and then when they can, break out with good midfield creativity. Unfortunately, they just have not shown to be clinical or prolific up front, and I think that's ultimately what's going to do them here. I think they can handle Iran's offense, but over the course of 90 minutes, the relentlessness that Iran pose, I think is going to be simply too much. Syria won't have enough relief to counteract that pressure from Iran, so yeah, I have Iran beating Syria. Not by a large margin, but I just don't see any path for Syria to win this game.
Yeah, mainly, I agree. I see them just coming out very defensive in this game, and you give that to Iran, I think they're just going to eventually break it. They have the talent. They have the quality. Taremi, Azmoun, they're going to put out an incredible starting 11 for this game.
Yeah.
Eventually, that technique, that quality on the ball will show itself, and they'll find that gap. They'll find that opportunity, and I think they'll be able to finish it and be clinical in those moments. So that's why I do have Iran winning this game.
Yeah, you just said it. Dude, they have so many different avenues to attack any sort of team. You have pace and class with Azmoun, good clinical finishing with Taremi. You have overlap on the fullbacks, whether it's Mohammadi, Moharami, or, Ramin Rezaian if he comes off the bench. And then you have good midfield creativity with Godos. And then you have Gayetti, who's honestly had a breakout tournament for me. I mean, he's really shown up to be a really good finisher, but also really good in build-up. So I just think Iran will have simply too much for Syria.
Iran wins this match. All right. Best of luck to the Syrians.
Best of luck.
Next up, we have Japan facing off against Group E winner Bahrain.
Japan's the underdog.
Japan's the underdog, man. No, really, my question here would be, did Japan get bailed out with this draw, or is this going to be a lot tougher than they expect?
I can see Bahrain having the same magical moments that they've displayed in both the Korea and Jordan matches. So far as to say that I won't be surprised at all if Bahrain get a goal here. I know that they have it in them. Ali Madan's one of the better players in this tournament in general. He's going to go off. And he has a good supporting cast alongside him. Abdullah Yusuf had a great game against Jordan. And then Marhoun has been excellent in this entire group stage. The backline has been solid for Bahrain. Not the best, though. And I think that's where they're going to really fail here, is that similar to Iran having too much, I think even though Japan's not flowing as freely as we'd like them to, they will simply have too much quality over the course of 90 minutes for Bahrain to contain. Bahrain will need to outscore Japan. I don't see that happening. I see Bahrain getting 1 goal, but I see Japan getting 2. And so that's how I see this game ending. Japan 2-0, 2-1, something like that. Or we see the rise of Japan and they go off and win a really nice 3-0 win here.
That's what I think personally is going to happen in this game. I've spoken about it already in our match recaps. I think what happened to Japan in their group stage was more of just a blunder. They'll get back to the winning ways in the knockout stages once that pressure is on and the bright lights are on. I think we're going to see a relentless, unapologetic, abusive Japan in this game. Go all out. No more jokes. No more playing with your food. Let's play some serious Japanese football and continue the momentum that we've been building for the past 2 years. And let's ball out on Bahrain. It sucks because I actually really like Bahrain this year and I like how they've been performing in this tournament. Ali Madan easily becoming one of my favorite players in all of world football. It's a great story, but I'm more focused on Japan here, achieving something truly incredible for the Asian region. And it starts here, because if it doesn't, we're talking about one of the craziest failures we've ever seen across all of international football, with Bahrain pulling off a historic victory if they end up winning.
Yeah, and low-key, that's why I'm not even putting any pressure on Japan, because I don't think that they'll go off here. I think they'll win no matter what. I have them winning 100% of the time against Bahrain in a round of 16. But I'm too caught up on the idea that you really show your colors in the group stage over the course of 3 matches, not just 1, but 3. Japan have played the same in all 3 matches. Good in moments, too much for weaker teams, but haven't gone up to the level of an Iraq, of an Iran. I just don't know if Bahrain's going to push them to that. I still have them winning this game, though. So Japan, I hope that we see some sort of return to form here, because dude, we're talking about the hottest team in world football before this tournament, man. I hope it happens. I just don't think it will fully. And honestly, I do like this Bahrain team too. So I kind of hope they don't let it happen.
We'll check back on this one. This one will be fun to look back on after it happens. Next up, we have Indonesia facing off against Australia. You want to go first or me?
I'll let you go first on this one, just considering the Indonesian narrative.
I think Australia's going to have a tough time. I think Australia's going to be a little surprised here, the same way I was surprised after that first or second group stage game that saw Indonesia beat Vietnam. Australia's been really interesting this tournament, man. Getting these low-scoring results, but still accumulating 3 points in each and every single one of the matches, 9 points overall. And just knowing how to manage a full 90 minutes with that classic Australian grit. And then some good players like Jackson Irvine getting a goal here and there. And Martin Boyle getting involved as well. Harry Souttar in that backline playing really good defensively. Australia's been solid, but I just truly haven't been that impressed with them when it comes to reaching that higher, more elite level of Asia. I don't think they have it in them. I really don't. I think they have enough to qualify out of this group as a top team, but I do think it ends there. And when they're matched up against a truly unpredictable side in Indonesia, who can at times play up to your level offensively and who can at times really surprise you on the counter with some really exciting winged players, but then also has a very extreme side of sometimes being very leaky on defense, being very open and very vulnerable when they're under constant pressure and under attack. So this game is going to give us a lot of answers as to what we think about Australia and what we think about Indonesia. Obviously, Australia is the favorite going into this game, and I do have Australia winning this match. But I'm just saying, man, I would not be surprised if it ends up being like a 2-1 or 3-2 result, because Indonesia is going to force Australia to play some of their best football so far.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I think you broke it down perfectly, and I agree with every single thing that you said. I don't have much to add here other than just the idea that, like, you know, this is the World Cup for a team like Indonesia. You can apply this to other teams, for example, like Palestine.
That's facts.
What a match the Indonesians have going into this, playing against former champion in 2015 Australia, and also just one of the best teams in Asia over the last 15 years in Australia. Indonesia have a crazy opportunity here to at least not even just win this game, but just to compete, to go off here, because this is probably the biggest game Indonesia have played in a very, very long time. And as you said, man, they play some exciting football. And I think that's what's going to make this match really interesting, because Indonesia at their best can stretch any defense in this tournament. But at their worst, you know, they can just leak goals unnecessarily. That's going to be the caveat here. Which Indonesia do we really get? I think they've actually been very disciplined in their last two matches. Yes, they let in several goals against Japan, but, you know, that's Japan. I don't see Australia having the same offense as a Japan, for example. So I think Indonesia can back themselves to have a pretty decent match here. Overall, though, I'm going to back the Australian grit and experience to get them over the line here. I agree. They have not had a stellar group stage, but what they have done is put in professional performances. It's what Australia do at the very least, and against an inexperienced team like Indonesia, I think Australia is going to do the same thing. Especially going to the knockout stage, it's all about managing your 90 minutes. There are a few teams better in Asia than Australia at managing a game, bro. So I think no matter how well Indonesia play, Australia's going to figure out how to beat them.
The prospect of Indonesia pulling off an upset here is pretty crazy, because imagine the idea of one of the top 8 teams in Asia being the youngest team in Asia in Indonesia.
Wow.
That'd be ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Right? And so I do think, like you mentioned, this is a World Cup. This is a big moment. I don't think it's that unrealistic for them to get a result here, given what we've seen so far. It'd be crazy, man. This would be it sets up to be a crazy historic match here if things go Indonesia's way. If it doesn't, then we just continue seeing Australia get these grimy results and move on forward through this tournament, and it could happen. All right, next up, going ahead, we have Saudi Arabia, the first place team of Group F, being rewarded, being gifted South Korea. Group E, second place South Korea, who after a crazy last match day finds themselves in second place after a tie against Malaysia. It's South Korea versus Saudi Arabia. This game's going to be insane. This game's going to be an insane round of 16 matchup. Jurgen Klinsmann versus Roberto Mancini, man.
Yeah, you're right. 2 European coaches going at it.
Big names.
Famous
Big
European
names.
coaches, bro. I just don't see Saudi Arabia doing much, man. They've let me down in this group stage. If anything, they're disconnected in the offense, man. All I see is a lot of isolation play. I don't see any chemistry going forward. I think their defense is fine. You know, you have players like Saad Al-Tambakti, if he's healthy, Al-Bulaihi, obviously, who's going to be their star defender. And then in defense, you still have, you know, class in Mohamed Kano. But again, going forward, Saudi Arabia have been so disjointed, so disconnected with one another. And when you look at their opponents in South Korea, on the offensive end, they have the X factor of the tournament in Lee Kang-in, a man who by himself can change the outcome of a match. And if you're struggling offensively, well, South Korea's not. No matter how poorly South Korea is playing at the back, they're going to score 2-3 goals if you're not up for the task. I don't know if Saudi Arabia is out for it, man. I know they've had, 7 points at the end of the group stage, but Oman and Kyrgyzstan, I mean, probably one of the 2 weakest teams of this tournament, man.
100%.
And against Thailand, 0-0.
Yeah, and they were both not really truly in it in the sense that if that game had happened in the first round of matches, would have been a different game.
And we got to see a lot more of who Saudi Arabia are, but that's another thing is that we haven't been able to see that. Kyrgyzstan, there was 2 red cards. Oman, it took Saudi Arabia till the 85th minute to actually turn it on. So I don't know what Saudi Arabia is capable of, and because of that uncertainty, I cannot back them against a fluid offense in South Korea. Now, Korea, as we mentioned in the review against Malaysia, they do leak goals, but I don't think that's going to be a problem in this match. I really don't think so. I think they will outscore Saudi Arabia no matter what here. And yeah, I think it'll be definitely a crazy battle, but once again, dude, Saudi Arabia is going to go out very early at an AFC Asian Cup.
I'll mention that with both these teams, I don't trust either one, man. I don't. I went off on South Korea in our last match recap. And Saudi Arabia, I completely agree with your whole analysis. When it comes to their specific group, we learned nothing, man. We learned nothing. So I'm not going to pick one.
Yeah. No,
no, I'm joking.
Flip a coin.
I'll flip a fucking coin at this point. No, I do think my reason behind why I picked this certain team to win is that I predict that we're going to see a trend of the top teams turning it on in the round of 16. It happens in major tournaments. You start to see it start to almost like starting up an engine. Sure, it was a little shaky during the group stage, but once it's needed, once those bright lights are on and the pressure is on, who actually shows up? Who has the balls to turn it up a notch in these tournaments? And I think it's going to be South Korea. Yeah. I think South Korea has too much firepower, too much talent. You mentioned Lee Kang-in. If he's on fire, the game is over. Well, if he's not on fire, look over to Heung-min Son, and maybe Papa can help you out and carry you in a victory there as well. These guys have been in big games. These guys have that experience. I don't see Saudi Arabia being able to compete with that throughout a whole 90 minutes, given the 3 games they've had to prepare so far. If anything, I think that result against Malaysia for South Korea has to, I hope, work as a wake-up call to be like, guys, get it together. Obviously, we have a great offense, but we need our defense to be there for us so that we can get good results in this tournament. I have South Korea finally getting it together in the round of 16 and defeating Saudi Arabia. And yeah, that is pretty crazy that when you look at their AFC Asian Cup history, it's actually pretty disappointing. All right, and moving on, we have Tajikistan facing off against the UAE. 2 teams that finished in second place in their group. Tajikistan right behind Qatar in Group A with 4 points. And UAE right behind Iran with 4 points as well. Pretty evenly matched when you looked at their group stage performances going into this game. And a game that I do think at the end of the day could go either way.
Give me Tajikistan in the quarters, man. It's all I want. It's all I want out of these round of 16 matchups, man. But as you already said, I do think it's going to be pretty tight. You said they had very similar group stage performances, and I completely agree with that. You look at Tajikistan in this matchup against the UAE, I think a very similar matchup is that Tajikistan-Qatar game. And in a game that Tajikistan did lose, but it was, very tight and took a little bit of refereeing to kind of give Qatar the result here. And the UAE have had a weird group stage, man. I mean, they had a decent first game against Hong Kong. I'm not going to say they dominated it, but they had a good game. And then from then on out, it's just been weird. Really weird. They had a red card against Palestine, got dominated, but held on. And then they got soundly beat by Iran. But they didn't play poorly necessarily. When you look at Tajikistan's performances, they have been very consistent. They play a very specific style of possession-based football, and they have not shied away from that. No matter who they've played, they play the exact same way. Kamalov will be coming off of his red card, but more importantly, they'll have the momentum of that really dramatic win against Lebanon. I think the fact that they won this last group stage match instead of winning their first game instead, I think means everything for Tajikistan because they know that they can win. They know that they can score goals. And against a UAE squad that's not going to necessarily dominate them, I think Tajikistan can really back themselves to put in a good performance. But I think it's going to be 50-50, man. Either team could win this one, but I'm going to go Tajikistan.
Sure. I think you make a great argument for Tajiki Taka continuing on and going into the quarterfinals. That'd be insane the way you're saying.
It'd be insane.
Debut appearance at the Asian Cup and they're in the quarterfinals as one of the top 8 Asian sides. That's insane. That'd be awesome. I agree. The story is great. But I'm actually going to find myself disagreeing with you for the first time here. Thank God we have something that we don't agree with here. I'm going to go UAE in this match because The one thing that has really stood out to me about Tajikistan is their shaky offense. Going into that Lebanon game, no goals scored and really not that many dangerous opportunities created in the open field. But then Lebanon, obviously an amazing result, very emotional result, coming back from being down 1-0 and getting an insane victory. That was truly nuts. But it is worth noting that Lebanon got a red card in that match, and it did open things up. For UAE, though, it's tough to really speak about them much higher than I just spoke about Tajikistan when it comes to their offense, because yes, they have 5 goals to their name this tournament, but 3 of them came against Hong Kong, who kind of like Lebanon was shell-shocked in that first game as well. I just do think that around the whole pitch, across the starting 11, there's a little bit more quality sprinkled in this UAE side, as well in the goalkeeping position that I've highlighted before. My boy Khalid, I've come to grow very emotionally connected to that guy, and I love how he performs on this pitch, and I like rooting for him as well. So not only do I have a personal factor here, I do think that looking at both these teams on paper, I have UAE just slightly edging it. Give it to me in extra time or penalties, but we're going to have a very tight game here with both sides going for it to get into that final 8. Pretty crazy, though, that either one is going to be a top 8 team in Asia.
Yeah, I actually can't disagree with any point you made. UAE, on paper, are the better team. I'm just going pure magic here for Tajikistan to get through. But the thing is, it's tight enough to where it's feasible. It's actually possible in this realm. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a fun match. And honestly, for both sides, you're kind of glad you got this draw. For Tajikistan, especially their debut, they probably got one of the, just quote-unquote weaker sides that they could have drawn. And the same thing can be said about UAE drawing Tajikistan.
The last matchup we have is Iraq facing off against Jordan.
Yeah.
Oof, bro.
That's what I'm saying, man.
This is crazy right
Second place in Group B was the only spot to finish, and Korea did it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying,
I
man?
think I see what conspiracy
Bahrain
shit.
gets Japan, and then now Jordan gets Iraq. Probably the hottest team in the tournament right now.
But, man, when you think about both these teams, Jordan included, man.
It's going to be a banger. This is going to be a banger of a match.
At their best of the best,
yeah.
Both these teams could put in like you said, a banger of a performance here. I'm excited. Yeah. Let me just express that first. I'm excited for this matchup. This is one of the more exciting matchups here in the round of 16. What a matchup we have between two teams that are looking to surprise this tournament and hoist that dark horse contender title. Either one can have it. Who do you have getting it?
Yeah. This is going to be fun, man. I'm going to be up for this match, dude. At Jordan's best, they are electric offensively. Yeah. Al-Tamari on the right wing has shown himself to be one of the best wingers in Asia, but he has really good help on the other side with Al-Mardi, who's been very clinical, very efficient offensively. And then at the back, Nasib and Al-Arab have proven to be rocks in that defensive end. You combine it together, you get a very exciting team in Jordan who can play against the top teams in Asia, as they proved getting a 2-2 draw against South Korea. The thing is that I think Iraq's a more complete team. Because the same things can be said about Iraq. Offensively, they can be electric with pace. If you include Ali Mohannad, Ayman Youssef, Ali Jassim, they've been phenomenal in this tournament. But they can also get physical. Throw in crosses in the box and find Ayman Hussein to head it home for Iraq. And then if Jordan have a really good defense, Iraq have a better one. So I think from front to back, Iraq have a more complete team. Not that they'll dominate Jordan, but I think over 90 minutes, and if it has to go into extras, I think Iraq will get the job done. They've proven it in their group stage, winning every single match, even fielding a B team in that third game, but still coming out victorious. Ayman Hussein is the best goal scorer in this tournament. It's going to take a perfect performance from Jordan to beat Iraq. I don't think that's going to happen. I have Iraq winning.
My goodness, brother. That was an incredible analysis there. You put it like that. I mean, this really is two heavyweights going at it.
Yeah.
This is Mayweather, Pacquiao. This is Muhammad Ali versus what was the other guy's name? I can't remember. Frazier or some shit?
Yeah, something like that.
Jordan against LeBron. You got Messi, Ronaldo. This is what this is right here. Iraq, Jordan, two strong teams going at it.
Strong right now. They're both strong.
Yeah, really, really strong.
They're both really strong right now.
Ay, man. This one is tough. Do I want to counter here? Do I want to?
You can, though. If Jordan can hit out, if Jordan can hit out, Iraq get caught, Jordan can win this game. It's one game.
Mm-hmm.
You give it everything, it's there, even though Iraq have been fantastic. But I'm just statistically, I think pound for pound, Iraq will outdo Jordan just.
I see. My goodness. I really do see Iraq being so complete, man. Having such good defense, such good midfield, and exciting offense. And not just that, they're all on the same exact page behind Casas, the Spanish manager, and what he's doing with them. The way he's fiddled, manipulated their minds into playing some beautiful football. I have to reward them with my gift of a prediction that they're going to win because of what they did against Japan. I have to. I can't. Like, you can't get that type of result in this tournament and then have me go against you in the round of 16. They deserve that at the very least. Jordan had an incredible group stage leading into that third game. And I don't know. I think what Iraq has done overall has been more impressive to me. I think, like you said, they have a more well-oiled machine in place that I do think is going to get them very far in this tournament. So it starts off with the victory here against Jordan, and it's just about waiting and seeing what this Iraqi side can do at this tournament. With a win here, man, I mean, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit for Iraq in this tournament.
Yeah, man. So excited to see this round of 16 games. I am giddy just thinking about it. We have a 2-day break, but on Sunday, all of the mayhem will commence. But real quick, though, if we could pull up the round of 16 the bracket once again. Dude, look at the top left-hand bracket, man.
I haven't done this yet, man.
Bro, it's a clear path to the semis. Clear path, bro. Qatar, Palestine, Uzbekistan, Thailand.
Oh my God.
Any one of them.
Oh my God.
Any one of them will find themselves in a semifinal.
Yeah.
Any single one of them. It's open. It's open season in that top corner. In the bottom corner, it gets a little crazy. Bahrain, Iraq, Iran, Japan.
Oh, good Lord.
Top heavy, dude. You go to the top right. It's still pretty heavy, honestly. Australia, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and add in the wild card of Indonesia.
Lord, no, man, that's loaded.
It's loaded. But the bottom right is almost as open as the top left.
Yeah.
Because you have Jordan, Iraq, that's the big one. But then Tajikistan, UAE,
wow.
There's two interesting paths for teams that make it to the semifinals and two very difficult paths.
My goodness, man. Yeah. My goodness. Yeah, so... Okay, I don't want to get them ahead of myself.
We won't.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, keep an eye out depending on what quadrant you're in.
Yeah. What a fucking tournament we have here with the AFC Asian Cup giving us these incredible matchups. We'll just have to wait and see and come back to this video to discuss what happened here at the AFC Asian Cup. Folks, let me know right now, what are your round of 16 predictions? I want to know where you guys stand on these games. Give us some more insight, some more foresight that maybe we missed out on. Let us know right away. And as always, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. 5 stars on Spotify. We'll see you guys.